The ghost of Barcelona whispers a new danger. The moment the Red Bull RB22 rolled out of the Barcelona pit lane, the atmosphere in the paddock turned freezing cold. Engineers froze, cameras zoomed in, and the usual chatter died down instantly as the entire Formula One world leaned forward in unison. Max Verstappen stood in the shadows of the garage, a silent predator watching his new machine take its first breaths on the asphalt. This was no mere shakedown, it was a declaration of war for the 2026 era. The RB22 didn't scream for attention with flashy wings or loud liveries. Instead, it whispered something far more terrifying to the competition. Its silhouette looked impossibly thin, like a weapon honed beyond the limits of physical reality. As the car sliced through the air, it became clear that Red Bull hadn't just built a new car, they had reinvented the laws of aerodynamic physics once again. The impossible shrinking of the Sidepod philosophy. The most shocking revelation of the RB22 lies in its sidepods, or rather, the lack of them. From certain angles, the car appears so incredibly slim that analysts are left wondering where the internal components even fit. Technical experts began circling photos in a frenzy, comparing the RB22 to a hyper-tightened version of the failed Mercedes zero-pod experiment, but with a lethal Red Bull twist. The frontal cross-section is minuscule, reducing the air intake area to a level that no other team dared to explore.
While rivals arrived with large, forgiving cooling solutions to play it safe, Red Bull chose pure, unadulterated risk. They have gambled everything on extreme efficiency and raw speed. This isn't just a design choice, it is an aggressive technical assault on the regulations, proving that Red Bull is willing to walk a razor-thin line between genius and total mechanical disaster. Mastering the high-pressure airflow secrets. This radical shift didn't materialize out of thin air. The seeds were sown back in 2025. Red Bull began experimenting with unconventional cooling inlets mounted atop the sidepods, utilizing high-pressure air generated by the cockpit, a zone most teams simply ignored. With the RB22, that daring philosophy has reached its ultimate evolution. By shrinking the inlets to a microscopic scale, Red Bull has prioritized aerodynamic purity above almost every other metric. It is a fascinating game of high-stakes poker against the 2026 power unit regulations. To see such a tight package on a car carrying a massive heat-generating hybrid system is nothing short of a miracle of engineering. Every millimeter of the bodywork suggests that the air is being manipulated with a level of precision that makes the rest of the grid look like they are still stuck in the previous century of design. A tale of two teams and split philosophies. The contrast within the Red Bull family has sent shockwaves through the paddock.
While the main team has gone ultra-slim and aggressive, the sister team, Racing Bulls, arrived with oversized intakes and a cautious, bulky cooling approach. This split philosophy is playing out in real time right before our eyes. One team is betting the house on aerodynamic efficiency, while the other is desperately protecting engine reliability. This stark difference proves that Red Bull Racing is operating in a different stratosphere of confidence. They are not interested in safe laps. They are hunting for total domination. Rivals are left scratching their heads, asking which philosophy will ultimately prevail. Is the RB22 a masterpiece of miniaturization, or is the Racing Bull's caution the only way to survive a full race distance? The tension between these two paths is palpable. The hidden mystery of the rocker inlet. Reports from the pit lane suggest an even deeper secret, a hidden inlet nestled between the rocker and sponsorship zones on the RB22. Its exact purpose remains a mystery, shrouded in technical secrecy. Some believe it is feeding crucial cooling air to the hybrid's most sensitive components, while others suspect it serves a purely aerodynamic role, shaping the airflow toward the rear with surgical intent. This is a clear sign that Red Bull is exploiting every single millimeter of the 2026 regulatory freedom. They are finding gray areas where others only see walls.
By utilizing these hidden ducts, they can afford to keep the main bodywork sleek and undisturbed. It is a masterclass in packaging that suggests Red Bull has found a way to breathe where others would suffocate. This hidden feature might just be the secret sauce that keeps the RB22 from a catastrophic meltdown. The double barge board and the Ferrari connection. One small detail has set technical forums on fire: the double barge board stay. While it sounds minor, this feature mirrors a solution found on the Ferrari SF26, suggesting that both titans have independently identified this as a critical development zone for 2026. When the two most successful teams in the sport arrive at the same radical conclusion, it means something massive is happening under the surface. However, Red Bull's execution feels more refined, more integrated into the overall flow of the car. It is a bridge between the front wing and the rear diffuser that promises to stabilize the car in high-speed corners like never before. This convergence of ideas shows that the battle for the championship will be won in the smallest of details. Red Bull isn't just following a trend, they are perfecting it to ensure that the RB22 remains untouchable. Sidepod cannon exits, turning waste into speed. The real talking point lighting up late-night group chats is the Sidepod cannon exits. This is a completely new concept for the 2026 era.
Instead of simply dumping hot air out of the car, Red Bull appears to be directing that thermal energy with lethal purpose. The hot air is expelled in a way that energizes the airflow over the rear of the car, effectively turning waste heat into extra downforce while simultaneously reducing drag. It is a bold, clever, and terrifyingly efficient way to gain lap time from a problem every team faces. While rivals struggle to manage their temperatures, Red Bull is using those temperatures as a performance tool. It's the kind of outside-the-box thinking that has defined their era of dominance. They aren't just cooling an engine, they are weaponizing the laws of thermodynamics to leave the rest of the field in a trail of hot, turbulent air.
Red Bull has essentially moved the lungs of the car to the roof to keep the waste as thin as possible. If their calculations are even 1% off, the car could become a ticking time bomb. But if they're right, they've just unlocked a level of aero efficiency that is simply unreachable. Mercedes and Ferrari, the contrast of caution. As the RB22 circulated Barcelona with quiet confidence, the contrast with its rivals became impossible to ignore. Mercedes, with Kimi Antonelli at the helm, looked like a car built for survival, large air intakes and ears that scream reliability over risk. They completed nearly twice as many laps, playing the long game of durability. Ferrari, too, has built-in safety nets with more generous inlets. Red Bull, however, didn't build a safety net, they built a tightrope. Every lap the RB22 completes without smoke is a psychological blow to the silver and red garages. It tells them that Red Bull has found a way to run hot and fast while they are stuck playing it safe. In a season where simulations are still catching up to reality, Red Bull's willingness to gamble on an aerodynamic advantage could decide the World Championship before the summer break even arrives. The verdict: masterstroke or overreach? As the Barcelona test winds down on January 30th, the question remains, have Red Bull nailed the 2026 rules, or have they finally gone too far?
The RB22 doesn't look like a car designed to merely survive the new regulations. It looks like a car designed to exploit them ruthlessly. Even without Adrian Newey at the helm, the car carries an aggressive DNA that refuses to play it safe. If this gamble works, the cooling architecture, which is baked into the car's core, cannot be easily copied by rivals. Mercedes and Ferrari would be left chasing shadows for months, trapped by their own conservative designs. Red Bull hasn't lost its hunger, they've only grown bolder with success. As the slim RB22 slices through the air, the rest of Formula One is left watching and wondering if they are witnessing the next masterstroke or the moment the empire finally pushed its luck too far.